absolutely put his faith in Christ. But let's go through Truth Be Told's video.
An Orthodox saint when he always tolerated cults and allowed the building of...
Hold on.
Why is Constantine an Orthodox saint when he always tolerated cults and allowed the building of pagan cult temples in Constantinople? It was not even baptized until late in his life.
He tolerated it because he was the ruler of a people, and he didn't oppress the pagans. Christianity, he stopped the persecution of the Christians, and he knew that Christianity would win out on the merits of its ideas and did not need to be enforced with violence. It was the pagans that needed to use brutality, violence, and murder against the Christians, because paganism, in the marketplace of ideas, paganism does not survive against Christianity. And why was he baptized on his deathbed? Well, it was because he had to be an emperor. He had to wield the sword, as Paul talks about, and basically oversee unchristian things and be the head of the military. The Orthodox Church is totally fine with being baptized on your deathbed. Constantine truly believed in Christ. He actually fought an army four times the size, and used the Cairo. If he lost, he would be dead, and his name would be wiped from the earth, and everybody he knew would be killed. So, yeah, he put a lot of he really put all of his life, his stakes, everything on the line for the sake of Christianity and Christ, to stop the persecution of Christians.
In addition, there is no evidence of strong sanctification theosis in him. Constantine believed in the unbiblical view that the emperor was closer to God than the bishop.
Citation needed. No, that's absolutely not true. He actually viewed the bishops as higher than him. This note right here is not from Constantine.
In Eusebius' Life of the Emperor Constantine, he suppressed all that was negative in his person and politics.
Eusebius was a court chronicler.
Constantine also allowed the existence of pagan temples in the empire.
Allowed the existence of pagan temples? Yes, of course. Because Christians don't violently murder people. Paganism was dying anyways. How does Christianity spread? By the sword or by evangelism? That's a rhetorical question. It spreads by evangelism. We don't need to burn down pagan temples. People stop going and they shut down, or they get converted into churches.
Professor Schneider of St. Vladimir's Orthodox Seminary said that a decade after Constantine's conversion, he favored the existence of the Eleusinian mysteries. I submit...
Proof needed. No, he didn't. A decade after, he embraced the Nicene Creed, so no.
That no sin of God would ever favor paganism. It appears that Constantine was more concerned about peace and stability in the empire than about what was true.
That's totally wrong, because he sided with the Council of Nicaea, but also it was his job to be concerned about peace and stability of the empire. And how do you know what went on in his brain and soul? That's the job description of him, to be concerned about peace and stability of the empire.
Deifying monarchs and emperor worship goes back to pagan Vedic culture. I believe the canon is...
Except he refused to be worshipped, and he said, I am not the king of the empire. The only king is Christ. Call me the emperor. And he even made Christ sole invictus and defunded all the pagan temples and funded all the Christian churches.
The organization of Constantine is a veiled form of emperor worship. I also think it is wrong to refer to Constantine as equal to the apostles for the following 5 reasons. 1. The apostles were specifically and uniquely chosen and appointed by Christ himself.
You don't understand what equal to the apostles mean, do you?
2. They held the highest office in the church. 3. They personally received from Christ the power of binding and loosing. 4. They were eyewitnesses of Christ's resurrection. 5. They did not tolerate paganism.
Yes, they did. Paul actually said the alternate unknown God, that's actually the God that I'm talking about. They totally tolerated paganism. They argued against it, but they didn't murder anybody or yell down anybody. They convinced people through miracles and debate. They absolutely tolerated it. They didn't take a sword to anybody.
Constantine.
Actually, John the Baptist tolerated it when he told the Roman soldiers how to act. The Good Samaritan, the parable that Christ gave, praised the Good Samaritan even though he had heretical beliefs.
Used pagan coins in the empire with the inscription, quote, Jupiter, preserver of the empire, end quote, even after his alleged conversion to Christianity.
Because coinage doesn't change overnight. This is after 313, but Lucanus still had half the empire. We have coins that say "In God We Trust" and it has Washington's face on it. Does that mean we believe Washington is a god? In fact, there were Mercury dimes less than 80 years ago that said "In God We Trust" on it. Did people worship Mercury in the United States 80 years ago?
Constantine eventually removed the pagan coins. Constantine,
yes, and put Christ on them.
Also allowed Arianism to exist in the empire. It was not until Theodosius I that Arians were finally removed.
Yes, he allowed Arians to exist, right. He wasn't going to persecute them. He also allowed the Novatians to exist. He did this at the behest of the church. Because you when dealing with a Christian who's fallen into false teaching, you don't just straight up fucking murder them. I mean, are you kidding me? Yeah, let's just kill anybody who doesn't have identical belief. Yeah, it wasn't until Theodosius, but that really has more to do with Julian the Apostate than anything else. As Orthodox Christians, should we go out and just start murdering the Roman Catholics and the Lutherans?
Constantine put some Donatist leaders to death. See History of the Churches by Cloud, page 49. How can a saint kill people just because of it?
Wait, you were just harping on him for not killing people. And those Donatists? No, they were Circasiliums. They were attacking his soldiers. It was a civil matter. They weren't just Donatists. They were Donatists that became Circasiliums who were attacking his soldiers.
Difference in doctrine. Another disturbing thing about Constantine.
It wasn't difference in doctrine because the Tridores and the Novatians had the same doctrine and they weren't executed.
Is that he persecuted St. Athanasius. Constantine slowly boiled his first.
He didn't persecute St. Athanasius. The period of time was Athanasius contra mundo. Under no circumstances did he persecute St. Athanasius or St. Nicholas or anything. He was actually on their side.
His wife under the suspicion of committing adultery.
You're thinking of his son, not Constantine's second, not Constantine the Great.
Murdered his son Crispus and killed his brother-in-law Licinius. Constantine.
That's no. Oh my God. There's no evidence for that, nor is there any evidence that he killed Agrippina. Or Faustina, I mean. There's zero evidence. You got that from the atheists at National Geographic. No, in fact, I have a whole video explaining how he could not have, he physically couldn't have done it. He wasn't even in, he was 3,000 miles away, and he was upset when he heard that his sister had died. He actually pardoned Lucanus when Lucanus was in an assassination plot with him, with his sister. So why did he wait 15 years to kill them if he completely pardoned them? And he pardoned them because he said that's what a Christian would do.
Constantine also had Licinius' son whipped to death for no reason.
That's an out-and-out lie.
See Proof of Vedic Culture's Global Existence by Knapp, K-N-A-P-P, page 251.
Another secular atheist European social justice warrior book, again not written by the Eastern Orthodox, and it's not a scholarly work.
Constantine decorated churches with pagan art.
Okay, this should be good, because no, never happened.
History of Christianity by Gonzalez, page 122.
By Gonzalez, oh my god. Okay, give me examples, because no, Constantine never put pagan art in churches. Do you even know when iconography and the iconoclast controversy started?
According to Professor Harvey Yoder, Constantine imported 427 pagan statues to decorate the Hagia Sophia Church.
Okay, this is extremely important. Hagia Sophia didn't exist. Constantine died before the construction of Hagia Sophia. Okay? It was Justinian that built Hagia Sophia. Constantine built St. Peter's in Rome and a church in Ravenna, Italy. His capital was in Ravenna, Italy. So Hagia Sophia was centuries after his death. So Soldier of Truth, or Truth Be Told, is either knowingly lying or so ignorant that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
See his lecture given in Harrisburg, Virginia.
I don't need the lecture. You're talking about 3 centuries after Constantine's death. He was not alive when the first brick of Hagia Sophia was laid. St. Peter's in Rome, the original one, and the church in Ravenna, Justinian constructed Hagia Sophia.
October 1993. Constantine did not destroy pagan temples on a large scale, nor did he close them. See.
That's correct. He didn't persecute religions. Tolerance to all, and guess what? It caused Christianity to bloom. Which contradicts your point that he persecuted the Donatists.
Early Christianity and Society by Grant, page 155. The church historian Rodney Stark writes of Constantine, quote, "For far too long, historians have accepted the claim that the conversion of the Emperor Constantine, 285 to 337, caused the triumph of Christianity. To the contrary, he destroyed its most attractive and dynamic aspects, turning a high-intensity grassroots movement into an arrogant institution controlled by an elite."
What? He was totally separate from the church. 289? Do you mean 313? No, he had nothing to do with it. It wasn't until 313. And then I should run this back. I hope I'm getting... Let me see what he said, because this is just outrageous.
Movement into an arrogant institution controlled by an elite who often managed to be both into an arrogant aspects, turning a high-intensity contrary. He destroyed its most attractive and dynamic aspect, claimed that the conversion of the Emperor Constantine, 285 to 337, caused the triumph of Christianity. To the contrary, he destroyed its most attractive and dynamic aspects, turning a high-intensity grassroots movement into an arrogant institution.
What? He stopped the persecution. Diocletian killed half of all Christians in the East. Constantine stopped that. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Controlled by an elite who often managed to be both brutal and lax, end quote. See, for the glory of God.
Both brutal and lax. See what I'm saying?
How monotheism led to reformations, science, witch hunts, and...
Name one witch hunt that happened within 1,000 years of Constantine. Name one.
The End of Slavery, pages 33 to 34. John Wesley said that in Scripture, St. Paul was portraying, quote, that fatal period when the emperor...
John Wesley, somebody who lived about 400 years ago, who had no access to any of the ancient writings of the early church fathers, or even any of the things by Eusebius.
Constantine called himself a Christian. From this time onward, the Christians had no more of the Spirit of Christ. than the heathens, end quote. See Wesley's Works, Volume 7,